Back in 2020 or whenever the coronavirus came around, we got stuck in the house and everybody had corona. We were all trying to figure out something to do. We were all stuck in here together, and I have 4 sons and they have their own families, so we were really piled in my little house. And I had a pork Boston butt whole, and I looked up some recipes for tamales, and a lady, her channel is Virtual Kitchen with Laura. She's the one who gave me this recipe. Y'all go check her out because she does a good job of explaining it, gives you some little tips. But if you want to learn from me today, I'm going to show you what I picked up from her. Okay, guys. So what happened is I got started without you, but I trimmed the fat off of my pork butt, and I think I probably ended up with closer to 5 pounds. I've taken 2 full onions and I've just halved them, and about 5 or 6 garlic cloves. I peeled the skin off of them dudes and mashed them and threw them in there. I am going to add now, right here, I've got a teaspoon of cumin or camino, however you say it, okay? And a tablespoon of salt, okay? I'm just going to throw that in there. All right. And then peppercorns. Let me see here. Got these peppercorns here. And you want about a tablespoon of them. If you get a little over, it's okay. All right. I'm just guesstimating here. Add water just to cover all this stuff. And as it's cooking, the fat is going to bubble up like with a lot of broths. And you can just spoon that stuff off the top. And at the end, we're going to save the broth. And we're going to filter all of this stuff out. I've put the water in it and let this stuff start to boil. And you see all the fat bubbling up on top. Looks all yucky. Well, I have an empty coffee can here that I just finished this morning. So I'm going to scoop all that fat off the top of it, throw it in there, and get rid of that stuff. And the rest of it, I'm going to let it continue to cook for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And I will be back. Here you see we have 2 Chili Anchos. We've got to cut this old stem off on it and open this thing up and de-seed it. And I have 7 of these Chili Cascabel. They're called Guajillos, right? And I'm going to do the same thing with them. So let me get her done. I'll keep a bowl right here close by it where I can put all the seeds and the trash off of it into there. All right. Just take my old scissors and slit down that baby. Okay, so you're going to end up, it's going to look kind of like so. All right. See how it's transparent? Okay, so here is all of our peppers now. Got most every seed and all that stuff out of them. They're ready to go. Show you how much comes out of there. I mean, there's a lot of seeds. That old stuff's dry and crusty. The Chili Ancho still got a little something to it, but now I'm going to add that to this little pot right here, and I have 2 teaspoons of salt in there, and I'm just going to put enough water on top of those peppers so that they can make like a little tea in there. It'll soak them up. I'm going to bring it to a boil and just let it sit there and cook for about 5 or 10 minutes. So this is the brand that I can get locally of the peppers. That's what you need for the sauce. That's going to turn your tamales red. These are boiled now, good enough. I've got my juice in there, and now they're fixing to go in the blender. I wish you guys could smell that pork in there. Gosh almighty, it smells good. But I'm going to get this stuff blended and let y'all check it out. All right, let's give it a little pulse here. Okay, so we got that stuff blended up. Let's take a look at it. So this is what this stuff looks like at this point. We have got to screen this stuff. So I'm pouring it. I've got a little sieve here. I'm going to pour this stuff out. Get all of it straining through here. Okay, and then I'm going to take, I got a little masher here. I'm going to just kind of push it down through here a little bit, because all those little pieces of pepper, they're fine, and they're kind of a pain in the butt. You got to keep working this stuff to make it go on through that sieve. See if I can show you guys some of this a little closer here. Can you see all those little bits in there? So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get all of the bits out. And at the end, I'll kind of show you what's left over. If you've pushed everything through the sieve, you can see how much is still left over. That's all the pepper crusts there kind of left over. So I'm going to get rid of that stuff, and it's time to fry this up. Okay, so now my grease is hot. All right, so move that guy around a little bit in there. So after 10 minutes, this is what it's looking like. I just cut the burner off, and I'm going to let it all cool all the way down at this point. And this stuff's about 10 minutes away from being done. It's time for everything to cool. I separated the broth and the meat, and I shredded the meat, and I'll show you what's fixing to happen now. This meat will now go into this pot. It's got about probably 2 tablespoons of grease in there. I'm letting it get warm in my little Dutch oven here. Just enough you can see it there on the bottom. I'm going to put the meat in there and stir it around for just a minute. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of that broth and 2 cups of our hot sauce that we've been making, okay? That's going to go in here, and we're going to get it mixed up. I'll bring it up to where it's bubbling just a little bit, and then take it all the way down to low for like 30 minutes. All right, so let's get this party started. After our sauce is mixed in with it, this is what we've got. And I gave it a little taste test. I'm going to add a little tiny bit more salt, just a little bit. But this is where you want to go ahead and season whatever to your taste that you want your filling to taste like. This is the time, because from here we go on to making the masa. This stuff's just going to cook for about 30 minutes on low, and then we're going to set it to the side and let it cool off while we make the masa. My salt to my Maseca. I have a half a bag of this in here with, let's see here, where am I at? Right here. With that 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I've got some of the broth left over here. There's 4 cups. There's a little more than 2 cups of lard in here right now. Okay, baby. There's a little bit more than 2 cups, but it calls for 2 cups. I just like having a little extra since I had to melt it. And there's a little bit more of the sauce that's going to turn it red. So I've been working at this most of the day, since a little after lunch anyway. And Asen is home now, so I'm going to get to mixing this, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and we'll continue part 2 tomorrow. That dough is ready. If it's got enough lard, it's the lard that's going to make this happen, okay? Then it will float in that water. If it sinks down to the bottom, you need more lard. I'm going to see if it's ready or not.
Go out there and find out what they want.
Okay, so let's see what happens when we put it in water. See how it did not float? It will float if it's ready, so it needs more lard. All right, everybody, it's early in the morning. And I woke up this morning and I said, let's make sure this dough's good. So I want to show you my dough ball before I get dressed and get my day started. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. And you can see this stuff float. So now my dough is ready. You see how that ball just floating in there? I stuck it in the refrigerator overnight and decided I would test it this morning. And this is what I've got, so I'm ready now. Okay, so let's talk about these corn husks, all right? They have all different kinds. They have like a really good high quality premium one, and then they have just the cheap stuff, and you can tell the difference. Corn shucks, some of them will be, if they're really good, they're all kind of fine and easy to soften. Water doesn't take quite as long, and they're just all uniform and really nice shape. The cheap stuff's kind of wore out, old, dried up. Now, normally I buy whatever I can get here locally, and it changes every year. But this year, I've got these La Excelencia, which, in my opinion, are a notch above what I had last year. So I'm going to do my best. But just so you know, if you have an opportunity to pick corn husks of different types, if there's one that is a finer brand, you may look, price will probably be a little bit more expensive, but I'd say it's worth it to get them. All right, guys, so now that we've tested and we made sure our masa was ready and it floated, okay, I've got it up here on the table. These two pans, as I make them, I'm going to set them in there. That way I can steam them. These have soaked overnight. I stuck them in hot water and put something on top of them in my sink and let them sit all night long. So you'll have to wipe them off a little bit, and you'll still find some corn silks on there, but they're a little bit dirty sometimes when they come from the store. So the best thing is soak them before you're going to do this. And I'm going to tell you, if I didn't have all night, because I'm doing this in 2 days and I wanted to do this in 1 day, I would begin soaking these before I did anything else. That way, by the time you got to them, they softened up, because it takes some time for them to moisten back up. I've got a couple of tools. This is like you chop your dough or your bread or something up with. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to try it. And if I don't like it, I've been using this guy in the past. Just a plastic putty knife. And this old stuff's 9x12 drop cloth from the hardware store. Brand new out of the package. So I just laid it over half. Give me a little room to make a mess. But this is my process. So we're not going to talk about the little monstrosity I got going here, holding this camera up so y'all can see this. But so my cleaned, beautiful little corn shuck here, my little husk. And this stuff's still pretty cold, so I don't know. We'll see. I may need to let it warm up and thaw out a little bit more, but it's been a minute since I've done it. It's been a year anyway, so. Just giving you the overview of how I do it, I guess. All right. I got to get back in it myself here. Just want to try to make a nice little even little pad. If you think about your dough around your meat there, that's what you're doing. You're building that. Okay, so there's part one. I guess I ought to get to meat, you reckon? This is my 3rd year of doing these tamales. And when it comes to this masa, getting it right where that ball will float, I have found that I almost have to double the amount of lard, okay? So I started off with 2 cups of melted lard mixed in with all this other stuff, okay? But I'm telling you, by the time I got this stuff right to the right consistency, I bet I put 4 cups of lard in there. So if you feel like, God, there's no way I should keep putting lard in here. I mean, I found it to be double what I was originally going from on that old recipe. So, all right. Yeah, this is real cold, so we'll see. I think I need to let everything thaw out a little bit. I may just try to make 1 or 2 here and let y'all just kind of see what's going on there until my wife gets home. It'll be fun with Asen. Not. He'll make it tough on us, but, and I'm slow. My wife really is a factory. Good gosh. Her and my daughter-in-laws and them get in here and they just tear it up. But, so, get that guy like so, and just wrap it up. All right. Save that little piece for something else. But can you see that? I mean, it was that simple. You roll it up, fold that guy like so. Pretty good sized tamale. And set that dude in the pan. I feel like everything needs to warm up much more, and it'll be much faster. The trick is trying to pull it down even where you got as much on this bottom end as up here, without taking it all away. I'm just making it kind of level, and it's just a practice thing. You can watch them old girls in the videos. Man, they get after it, and they got that figured out. But since it's once a year for me, this is how it's gonna go. Every time I make these tamales, I think of my buddy Bill. Used to have a good friend. He worked out at the airport, and we played music together all the time. Nothing professional or anything. I just go out to his place. He was elderly. He was at 94. I'd go out there and play music with him, tooting around a little bit. But every Christmas, he always got tamales. And he had some buddies. He ran the airport. And I'd go out there with old Bill, and some of his buddies would come in from McAllen, and there's a nice tamale place down there. They make that stuff really good. And they'd bring him a whole bunch of them for free. Pork, chicken, beef, whatever. These are pork tamales, just so you know. But okay, there's number 2. And he'd always share with me because he was all by himself, and they'd bring him quite a bit. I was watching a video of the two of us playing guitar a minute ago, and made me miss my buddy. Like I say, you can do this stuff. I mean, some people are so fast at this, man. I don't care. I'm on vacation. I'm home alone right now. I just want to chill out. Do my thing. I don't care. I got all day long. Or at least till lunch when everybody gets here. It makes things a little bit more difficult to get certain stuff done. Come on now. Give it to me. All right. As soon as I grow up, though, I'll probably get pretty good at this. Okay. And it's up to you how much you want to put in there. I'll tell you, if my family, well, my wife and my grandson, and a lot of the, well, some of the daughter-in-laws, they don't dig the spicy. So I can't do anything spicy anymore. It just drives me crazy because I like these hot. I mean, I enjoy the flavor. I don't want it to take away from the flavor, but a little bit of burn at the end's all right with me. So if you want yours spicy, then when you're making your meat and stuff, I don't see why you couldn't throw in some peppers and stuff. All right. All righty, baby. All right. So, I mean, you try to make it all hard and difficult and stuff, but I think I am going to separate the ones that come out a little longer. I'll put them in one and little shorties in the other. They're all going to be good. So, there's 3 for now. I'm going to rinse my hands off, guys, and I am going to warm this stuff up. It needs to be thawed out a little bit more than it is. That's what's making it so hard to spread and grab and go. So, I'm going to get that done, and I may bring you back when everybody else is helping me, but you get the basic idea of how to build this thing. This is in the 70s. We ain't rolling Hooters here. But if you wanted to sell them, they're around here. Everybody's always trying to buy them. Well, I'm getting this guy, thawing it out a little bit. I'll get it just where all that stuff's melted in there, and I can mush it around softly, and then I'll let it set until it cools back to room temperature. And I filled my sink up with hot water, hoping that it'll slowly warm that up in the meantime. I can see it loosening around the edges in there. So hopefully, I may have to work it with my hands again before I go any further, but it'd be worth it to be able to smear that stuff nice and smooth like I'm used to. So, let's see what happens. Good old Speed Factory. It's disappearing fast since you started helping me. The mess is building though. Alright, so, this ain't hot yet, but I want you to see, I stacked in, excuse me, I stacked all my tamales in there. I got 2 little trays, and I'm going to steam them now for an hour and a half. I've got them on about a medium-high heat and about, I'd say, 2 inches of water in here in the bottom. And in an hour and a half, we'll come back and check that out and see how they look. All right, the hour and a half is way over with now, so we take these off. You can see the tamales have been steamed now. I went ahead and I snuck one out and unpeeled it to check it out, and thought I'd let you see kind of how they come out. Now, we didn't wrap them real tight. That's why it looks kind of like that, but let's see what it tastes like. What do you say? All right, 2 days of work. I hope it's good. I'm not complaining. Pretty good stuff, y'all. You get a chance, you ought to try to make some for your family. Maybe make it your own little Christmas tradition. Anywho, KC Jelly's getting out of here. It's supper time. We'll see y'all later.